Hi, so I'm back with my next iteration of my sculpture, Time to Play. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, the idea of Time to Play is that it physically is giving you the time to take a moment for yourself. So this is a version of my 3D model. A little hard to see, but I added a very basic animation of what it would look like to turn. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. As far as a physical model, I am currently experimenting a little bit with sound because I originally started with sand in my very first video. And then when I went to the 3D model, I talked about using marbles to create sound so that when a person has their time to play, they can dance, move, go along with that. So in looking for these marbles as a base, I actually came up with quite a few other ideas. So I have a lot of things that are going to make some very different sounds, and I am just kind of experimenting right now. I'm going to use this mug to kind of pour them into. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear some of them, the ones that are louder, because I think the sound is a very important part of this because it creates the need to play. When I hear music, I need to dance. I want to move. And so that's the idea, is that you're creating a sound that makes people want to get moving. So I have a lot of options actually. So I'm going to start with these little glitter balls kind of thing. I'm not actually sure what they are. They might be styrofoam. So let's see, we're just going to yeah, that did not work at all. Okay. Let's see if I can empty this into something without making a big mess. All right. So next I have these little red gems. I tried to keep something that was going to also add some color because the base of everything is rather neutral with the mirror and the black edging. So let's see. That's actually getting somewhere. It's really faint, but that is moving in a direction that I want to go to. So I'm going to keep that on the back burner. Similar concept, I have some beads, a little bit of a darker color. I have a feeling they're going to make a similar sound, but I definitely just wanted to exhaust all my options. Oh. So it made a similar sound. I think I'm going to skip the beads just because it was interesting. You couldn't see because the mug is not clear, but they kind of, I don't know if you saw any of them bounce back out at me, but they did. They bounced back. And so that is really interesting to me because I'm trying not to mix things. This is not going well. That's very interesting to me just because it creates another element. And it's not really an element I'm looking for, but it creates a movement that is definitely interesting to the eye. But I think it's going to take away from the idea of just creating time. We're not really trying to create movement. I'm just trying to create time. So I have similar concept, a little bit bigger, these little like rock things. You're still kind of getting that bounce back. I'm wondering if I'll get that with everything. I'm noticing it more with the larger materials. But that is an interesting sound. Let's see. These are kind of like these little gem things. Well, that doesn't make sense, really make sound at all. So definitely not going down that road. That's kind of the same situation. Doesn't really make sound for, that's kind of a glitter. They're called glass confetti. I thought that would be an interesting way to go, but it's not really creating anything. And then I went for wood. I think wood creates an interesting sound, so let's see where we're gonna go with this one. That actually might be a good place where I end up with the wood, the little wood pellets, wood balls, because they create a lot of sound. They create a lot of different sound as they bounce off each other, bounce off other things. And then lastly, I found these little miniature bells, which bells obviously are musical instruments, and so I thought that could be something super interesting. So I'm definitely leaning between the bells and the wood. I think hearing the bells, they're rather quiet, and so I don't know how well you can hear it, but I definitely know that I need something loud, because if this is going to be a public art installation, it has to be able to be heard, because like I said, the sound is a very important aspect to this whole thing. So I actually think these like wooden marbles are really going to be my best bet, which is kind of interesting because it takes me back to the whole marble idea, to the beginning. But as I get into building my sculpture, I'm definitely going to continue experimenting back and forth between these wood balls and these little tiny bells, because I think those are my best options. But that's kind of where I'm at with this iteration.